I spent most of my life staying silent about my struggles, just wrote about them in my diary. However, I found that when I share my story, a part of me heals each time I do. I'm going to read an excerpt from my poem entitled Closet Space, as it is a great example of how writing has helped me not only heal from my trauma, but also process my mental illness as well. I wrote this a few years ago. I was a child with no protection of the cruel way life can alter one's affection. To survive, I learned to anticipate every need. I learned the problem was me. I learned that punishment came with everlasting effects. I learned that my pain was always second best. I learned to run and never stop. I learned that I couldn't be abused if I was the one on top. The cause of my anxiety is crystal clear. My deep-seated need for control started here. I was convinced if I could see every path ahead, I could replace it with a better one instead. For years, I kept what I had endured inside, forced myself quiet and a portion of me to the side. Silently being in pain no longer fits. I'm calling this self-inflicted silent torture quits. Little did I know what trauma and predisposition was brewing. I even pondered if it was a product of my own doing. After years of control and my pleas to God, my brain bled through those cracks of that facade. I could no longer be submissive and careful. Mania was tired of that role. Manic me fought through nails and brick to never be tied down and sick. Back and forth, I would flash from my thoughts, wants, and needs, all while my body were under a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze. Mania sprinkled with anxiety ran through my body like a roller coaster high on Red Bull and Molly. Depression riding shotgun, risky behaviors, whatever's fun. My writing process is shown on this timeline. I don't always know what I want to write, and I don't always start with a poem. Often my writing starts with a big emotion and just recognizing that emotion. Then I take pen to paper and I just start free writing, whatever comes to mind. Sometimes it rhymes right off the bat, and other times it's just raw emotion and fragmented sentences. I write until I feel like I have nothing new to say. Then I revise my ramblings, sometimes spending hours looking through thesauruses and Googling words that rhyme with blank. However, the most important step in my writing process is revisiting my writing. The next poem I am sharing is full of revisions and came to me by revisiting several of my older poems. A night's poem was written by answering the writing prompt, "What makes you strong?" I was surprised at the answer, to be honest. I'm often surprised by my own writing, as it continuously helps me make sense of my mind in a way that I wouldn't normally. A night's poem. First things first, I was infected with a generational curse. Defiant of being like a drug-addicted mother, I grew up separately, and my siblings only had each other. Hardest thing I ever did was becoming an adult while still a kid. By 14, afraid to come home at night, I'd become an expert at tiptoeing out of sight. Silent tears shed in the shower, vicious words echoed by the hour. I would have ran, jumped, skipped to Mars in order to change my stars. By 18, until tomorrow tattooed on my wrist, as a reminder to give them a kiss, as a reminder I'd survived another day until tomorrow, come what may. By 22, I drove a Honda Rebel with pride. Nothing compares to an engine beneath your thighs. Call it intuition the day I broke my leg, but something told me to wear a full-face helmet instead. I hit that truck with no time to bail, and I relinquished all control with my exhale. Femur broken in half, and when I asked for a cigarette, the EMTs just laughed. True story. Was it fate or beginner's luck? I survived hitting the pavement head first and T-boning a truck. One of the hardest things I'd ever done was learning to walk, then run. Refused to be stuck in a victim mentality. I was shaping my reality. Defiance gave me strength through the pain, determined to even dance again. Society sneered and stared, "You're faking," while every step was painstaking. Full of surface level concern, smiles felt like third-degree burn. Intrusive questions and teaching the public decorum lessons. How? Who was driving a motorcycle? You. Really? Got those on the daily. Friends becoming strangers, strangers falling flat, baby sister hissing, "You're not really going to wear that." It was a unicorn horn that I adorned, and I wore it all the time to show her never let anyone dim your shine. I frequented festivals in a rainbow tutu. It was a breakthrough. Finally, people walked at my pace, and to all the black sheep, I was home base. I found strength in the people I kept close, no longer alone in my woes. By 24, it was my college years. It was also one of the hardest things I'd done, and I broke my fucking femur. Now able to run, and I danced again, but not just for fun. Call me a cliche, stripping at night and college through the day. Physical strength as well as mental, reminding myself my alter ego was just a rental. Strength to laugh at jokes that weren't funny. Strength not to tell an oil rig worker that he too was selling his body. Strength to hear a dinosaur belittle me because he was tipping in 20s. Strength to smile at the words, "Hey honey." No choice but strength. I needed the money. Financial freedom is priceless, and I've been born in a financial crisis. Pole breathe new strength in me by seeing my body more positively. I'd climb a 20-foot pole, flip upside down, and sing that song by Marcy's Playground. Acrobatics in mid-air, and people would stare, but I no longer cared. Taken under the wings of other dancers, inspiring my search for answers. I have done what people say to do. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That rhetoric is said for fools. Manically suicidal in my last semester of school. The mother of another made me pinky promise to seek help clinically, so I checked into a psychiatric facility. It got worse before it got better. I'd almost given up before seeing my higher letter. My therapist through college truly did excel. The lithium I was prescribed, well, it gave me strength as well. I didn't even graduate, y'all. I failed technical writing, but finally, I was stable. No more flight or fighting. By 27, I had a drug-induced psychosis and a CPTSD diagnosis. Inner monologue plugged into a surround sound. The protagonist of a cautionary tale. I was crowned. I knew it was just a trip, but then reality disintegrated as if Thanos snapped his fingertips. Out of control, weakness coursed through my veins, and I'd realized I'd been using this unicorn headband as a cane. I needed help from others to get back to my original plane. Is it as obvious to you as it is to me now? It is at our lowest we see how well we are endowed. I can only control how I react and who I keep by my side. There is strength in numbers. Vulnerability is my guide. With knowledge comes power, and I learned I was indeed a damsel in distress in the tallest tower. In the movie A Knight's Tale, Heath Ledger's character has this idealism of changing his stars. When you grow up in poverty and abuse, where the parent roles are confused, you either continue the cycle or break free. And I vowed as a child, darkness would not control me. I'd change my stars, I'd go far. Others gave me strength when I was bursting at the seams, all by believing in me. So by 30, I credit every hotline I called at 2 a.m., every laugh until my cheeks hurt with my best friends. Credit to all the other unicorns turning around the camera lens. I credit my bleeding heart for choosing to love and be loved fully. I credit my bullies. I credit the all-nighters and those hugs that held me tighter. Credit to each counselor that helped me see in technicolor. Here's to all the regulars at the club, paying me well and telling me to never give up. Credit to all the love lost. Credit to the sunset and the moss. I credit my poetry for taking out what was in. I credit all the could have beens. I credit the hands that wiped my tears and the music deemed anthem of my year. Here's to living despite fear, because after everything,
I am still here.
I gave strength to myself by finding strength in everything else. Spite made me strong, but hope and love, they made me stronger. The last unicorn, I am no longer. Thank you so much. Sometimes hope is all we have in the fight against our own minds, and I hope my poem reminds you that we also have each other. I hope that there is someone here that is inspired to share their stories upon hearing mine. Mental illness can be a suffocating isolation, and connection sows the seeds of hope. And as we all know, hope can make a world of a difference. I have plans to publish my poetry in the future, but in the meantime, I'm on most of the social medias, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. My online community called Unapologetically Unicorn. I share some writing, I share memes, articles, songs, anything that I find that helps me in my mental health wellness journey, and anything that makes me feel good. And you are welcome to join or follow these things. There is a public page where everyone can view, and then there is also a collaborative private Facebook group for other unicorns where you can share your own experiences or things that help you in your journey. Any questions? I feel like I breezed through that super fast, so I think I have like a few more minutes.
Oh God, you started with writing.
In one way, Edgar Allan Poe inspired me, but then it was also the only place where I could tell my truth, where I felt safe to. I'm now lucky enough to have a bigger support system and tell my truth to anyone who will listen.